Sydney Sweeney.
Sydney Sweeney.
Sydney Sweeney.
Sydney Sweeney.
Well, Sydney Sweeney, Jane, putting it all on the line to try and publicise her.
Please welcome two-time Emmy nominee Sydney Sweeney.
Hollywood rewards the loud, but it endures the deliberate. Sydney Sweeney seems to understand that difference. She treats fame as a tool, not a home, and she builds her life like a long game. At 27, she carries two reputations at once: a performer with emotional range and a business mind that refuses to drift. Years ago, she made PowerPoint decks for her parents at 15, explaining why Los Angeles was not a fantasy, but a plan. Now, she is associated with a $40 million net worth, yet her choices still read as measured rather than flashy. What makes her story unusual is not only the ascent, but the restraint. She keeps parts of herself unclaimed by the spotlight, and she works like someone who expects the spotlight to move on. From Spokane to Westwood, from guest roles to Emmy-nominated shows, she keeps returning to the same idea. Earned success should feel steady. Early life and background. Sydney Bernice Sweeney was born on September 12, 1997, in Spokane, Washington. She grew up in a working-class family where practicality was not a mood, it was the air. Her mother worked as a lawyer, and her father worked in the medical field. That background shaped an early belief that effort must be visible to be trusted. Her childhood was active, marked by lake summers and snowy winters, but she was also watchful. She noticed how people changed when they felt seen, and she studied films with unusual concentration. When she told her family at 12 that she wanted to act professionally, they did not dismiss her. They simply asked her to show that it could work. At 15, she answered that challenge with a comprehensive business plan. She laid out the cost of moving to Los Angeles, the risks, the timeline, and the potential return. It was a 5-year projection delivered with the seriousness of a corporate pitch. Her parents agreed, and the family relocated to California. School became less traditional after the move. She attended St. George's School in Spokane before leaving, then shifted into tutors and online courses. Even then, she treated learning as something that happened everywhere. On sets, in meetings, in contract conversations. She learned to ask questions and to keep asking until the answers made sense. Career development. Her first years in the industry were a quiet grind of auditions, small roles, and long pauses. She appeared in episodes of Criminal Minds and Grey's Anatomy, the kind of work that pays a few $1,000s and disappears quickly. Between 2012 and 2015, her income was modest, roughly $20,000 to $30,000 a year. Those years were less about money and more about proof. In 2018, The Handmaid's Tale gave her visibility and a step forward in credibility. She may have earned $50,000 to $75,000 for her arc, enough to feel progress but not security. Everything Sucks on Netflix was short-lived, yet it showed she could carry emotional weight. Later, she spoke about struggling to pay for health insurance and about her family's financial stress, puncturing the myth that television automatically means wealth. Then, in 2019, HBO's Euphoria widened her reach. As Cassie Howard, she played vulnerability with structure, turning mess into something precise. The first season likely paid around $100,000 to $150,000. Solid but not life-changing. What changed was cultural impact, and impact becomes leverage. In 2021, The White Lotus elevated her again. For the limited series, she earned approximately $250,000 to $300,000 and gained an Emmy nomination. That nomination quietly changed her bargaining power. By the time Euphoria returned for Season 2 in 2022, reports suggested she commanded around $350,000 per episode. Across the season, that meant well over $2 million. Around this period, she launched 50/50 films, placing herself on both sides of the camera. Acting brought visibility, but producing promised control. Film roles followed: The Voyeurs, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, and Madam Web. These projects paid varying amounts, from $500,000 to potentially over $2 million depending on budget and prominence. By 2023 and 2024, she was earning between $8 and $12 million annually from acting alone. She also understood that wealth in entertainment rarely comes from one lane. She became the face of Miu Miu, earning an estimated $1 to $2 million for that campaign. She partnered with Laneige, Armani Beauty, and Ford, each deal worth 6 to 7 figures. By 2025, endorsements were generating approximately $5 to $8 million a year. Today, she is in strategic expansion. She is not only accepting roles, she is producing them, with projects in development that pay acting fees and producer fees. She is one of the most sought-after actresses under 30, commanding $3 to $5 million per film, and television rates around $400,000 to $500,000 per episode. The structure matters as much as the spotlight. Setbacks have been minimal, but still instructive. Some projects did not materialize, some negotiations fell through, and the risk of being typecast followed her most visible roles. Instead of reacting loudly, she treated those moments as data. She kept widening her range, choosing work that challenged the easy labels, and using her production company to create options when the market narrowed. That approach fits the larger theme of her career. Control is not about dominating every outcome, it is about building enough pathways that one closed door never feels like the end. In an industry that shifts overnight, she keeps her footing by planning farther ahead than the headlines ever. Primary residence. Sweeney's primary residence is in Westwood, Los Angeles. She purchased it in 2022 for approximately $3 million. It is estimated now at around $4 to $4.5 million and spans roughly 3,000 square feet. It is large enough for privacy and work, but not so large that it demands a staff. The exterior reads as classic California restraint, cream stucco walls, a terracotta tile roof, and mature landscaping. Olive trees and drought-resistant plants frame the approach, which stays understated with a gravel drive and covered entry. Security is present but discreet, designed to protect without announcing itself. Inside, the living room is flooded with light from oversized windows. Hardwood floors run beneath mid-century lines in contemporary comfort, anchored by a fireplace with simple tilework. The space feels lived in. Books on tables, throws within reach, art that reads as personal rather than performative. The dining area flows openly, marked more by atmosphere than by walls. A wooden table seats 8, but she has said she prefers intimate dinners with close friends. The house is designed for function, not staging, a place where scripts can be read without ceremony. The kitchen features white cabinetry, marble countertops, and high-end appliances that stay practical. A Sub-Zero refrigerator and a Wolf range suggest quality without excess. She has spoken about cooking as relaxation, and the layout supports real preparation. There are 3 bedrooms and 3 bathrooms. The primary suite sits toward the back for privacy, with floor-to-ceiling windows that face the yard. The bathroom includes a soaking tub, a rainhead shower, and a double vanity in marble. A second bedroom functions as an office and reading room, with built-in shelves and a desk facing a window. The third bedroom stays ready for family visits. One of the most telling spaces is a converted garage turned into a screening room. It seats 8 to 10, with a quality projector and proper sound. It is where she watches her own work critically and hosts movie nights that feel private rather than promotional. Outside, the yard holds a pool large enough for real swimming, deck space with loungers, and mature trees that add privacy. A covered patio includes outdoor seating, a built-in grill, and string lights for evening softness. A small fire pit area invites conversations that stretch past midnight. Even the way the rooms connect reflects her preference for calm momentum. Light moves through the living room and into the dining space, and nothing feels designed to shout. The palette stays neutral, letting the day set the tone. In the office, the built-in shelves do more than store scripts. They keep her work visible, a reminder that craft is a daily practice. The screening room feels like a private classroom, a place to watch, learn, and recalibrate. Outside, the pool and patio read less like luxury and more like recovery, a quiet reset between public weeks. That balance, between openness and shelter, is how the home supports her. Secondary property. Beyond Los Angeles, she purchased property in Spokane, maintaining a tangible connection to her roots. Details stay private, and that privacy feels intentional. She has said it matters to have a place removed from industry pressure, where anonymity and nature replace constant attention. It is less a celebrity vacation home and more a grounding refuge. Car collection. Her car collection suggests taste for mechanics and nostalgia more than status. The most notable is a 1969 Ford Bronco, increasingly valuable and still driven. She likely paid around $60,000 to $80,000 depending on condition, and it keeps the original inline-six engine and manual transmission. It is a vehicle that asks the driver to participate. She also owns a vintage Ford pickup truck, possibly a 1960s F-Series, valued around $40,000 to $60,000. The appeal is utility and heritage, not flash. For daily use, she has a modern SUV, likely a Range Rover, worth around $90,000 to $120,000. It brings comfort and safety for Los Angeles traffic. Reports also suggest a classic Mercedes-Benz, possibly a 1980s or 90s SL class, valued around $50,000 to $70,000. What stands out is what is missing. No Lamborghinis, no Ferraris, no obvious supercar statement. The collection reads like someone choosing craftsmanship over spectacle and personality over price. Income and net worth. As of 2026, her net worth is associated with approximately $40 million. The number matters less than how it was assembled. From 2012 to 2017, she accumulated perhaps $200,000 to $300,000 total, mostly from guest appearances and small recurring roles. It was survival income in an expensive city. From 2018 to 2020, the breakthrough period began. The Handmaid's Tale, Everything Sucks, and the first season of Euphoria combined to generate approximately $2 to $3 million. It was enough to breathe and to start thinking in longer timelines. From 2021 through 2023, growth accelerated. The White Lotus, Euphoria Season 2, film roles, and major brand partnerships generated roughly $20 to $25 million across those years. This is when leverage compounds, because the value of a name changes the terms of a deal. In 2024 and 2025, she reached peak earning years. Acting brought approximately $10 to $12 million annually, while endorsements added approximately $5 to $8 million a year, and producing added $1 to $2 million. Annual income approached $18 to $20 million. Major contracts sharpened the picture. The Miu Miu campaign reportedly paid $1.5 to $2 million. The Ford partnership is estimated at $2 to $3 million. Laneige and Armani Beauty deals each added 6 figures to low 7 figures, depending on structure. Her production company, 50/50 Films, also changes the math. When she produces, she earns producer fees on top of acting fees. For projects where she stars and produces, she can add an additional 25 to 50% on her acting fee. Residuals from streaming generate 5 to 6 figures annually as audiences rewatch Euphoria and The White Lotus. She has mentioned investing in real estate beyond personal properties, and her wealth likely earns returns through diversified portfolios. Philanthropy and charitable work. Her philanthropic approach stays practical and underpublicized. She has spoken about supporting mental health awareness, particularly given the themes associated with Euphoria, though specific donation amounts are not disclosed. She has participated in campaigns that destigmatize therapy and emotional wellness, lending her platform to organizations that offer accessible resources. She has also mentioned support for scholarships and programs that help working-class young people access arts, education, and industry opportunity. Animal welfare is another cause she has been involved with, including support for rescue organizations and adoption advocacy. Across these areas, the pattern is restraint, giving that does not require applause. Personal life. In her current life, she protects privacy with the same discipline she uses at work. She is engaged to Jonathan Davino, a Chicago-based restaurant owner and businessman, and their relationship has lasted several years away from the industry spotlight. His distance from entertainment seems to offer grounding, a reminder of life beyond sets and premieres. Her routine reads as structured. She wakes early, often before sunrise, and trains with workouts that range from boxing to Pilates. Fitness is not presented as vanity, but as preparation for long shoot days. Breakfast stays functional and protein-focused, often eggs and vegetables, and the morning turns towards scripts or production meetings. Outside work, she leans into hobbies that feel tangible. She genuinely loves automotive restoration, getting hands-on with vintage vehicles and the patience they require. She is also an avid reader, and cooking functions as a creative outlet without career pressure. Her social circle stays small, built on trust, including friendships with industry peers connected to Euphoria. She has spoken about therapy and the need for mental health maintenance in a psychologically demanding industry. She prioritizes sleep and limits social media consumption despite public attention. Work-life balance is constructed, not accidental, and free time often means returning to Spokane to recalibrate. Her private life, by design, stays ordinary in the best sense. The workouts, the reading, the cooking, the time spent with cars, all create a rhythm that does not depend on applause. That rhythm makes it easier to say no and to protect the parts of life that do not translate into headlines. When she limits social media and prioritizes sleep, she is not avoiding attention so much as managing it. She treats energy like capital, something to invest carefully because the work demands it. Her long game needs patience. Sweeney's lifestyle suggests that modern success is built on more than talent. It is built on negotiation, on diversification, and on the willingness to treat creativity as business without losing the craft. Her story is not simply fame, it is structure. The values behind the structure are visible. Control over her narrative, transparency about money, privacy as protection, and restraint in how wealth is displayed. She did not wait to be discovered, she presented a plan. She did not romanticize instability, she spoke openly about financial stress and health insurance. At 27, she has built diversified income streams, a production company, and a home that supports her life rather than consuming it. The Westwood house feels impressive but not excessive, and the vintage cars signal interest rather than status. Spokane remains a grounding pull, and philanthropy appears without headlines. She continues writing her career as a long game, proving that quiet wealth is often the loudest kind of confidence. If her journey resonates, stay with the story, because what she is building is not just a career. It is a life designed with intention, shaped by discipline, protected by privacy, and powered by the quiet confidence of someone who knows exactly what she is doing. Her story doesn't argue that fame is harmless. It argues that it can be handled. Sydney Sweeney keeps choosing foundations over fireworks, work that stretches her, deals that strengthen her position, and spaces that let her breathe. The through line is simple and rare, a willingness to plan, to protect, and to keep learning even when the spotlight is loud. In that steadiness, she shows a different definition of luxury: time, control, and the freedom to say no. And she does it without losing herself to public expectations. If this video inspired you, like, share, and subscribe for more videos.